Broadcasting live from our studio in Boston, Solutions Review is proud to showcase Click in the Solution Spotlight, a unique online event for industry professionals.
I'm Doug Atkinson here at Solutions Review, and welcome to the Solution Spotlight featuring Click. We see it every day, and our numbers prove it out. Data solutions across the board are top of mind for our audience. It's clear to us that the most successful organizations are investing in data to make sense of the increasing amounts and diverse varieties of the data they're capturing. The challenge is to effectively integrate, analyze, and act on the data while ensuring its trustworthiness. So today, we're happy to shine our spotlight on Click, a true leader in the data space. Actually, a leader 13 years in a row, according to the Gartner Magic Quadrant. And they brought along a client partner to share how they're implementing a collection of the solutions on the Click data platform. And to walk us through this solution spotlight is Frye, Director of OEM Product Marketing at Click. Catherine, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Doug. Appreciate your having Click on today. Great chance to share our story.
Yeah, well, actually, it's a great story to share. You guys have been killing it, and we're thrilled to have leading solutions like Click on whenever possible. And the fact that you brought guests makes it even more special for us. Before we get going, and we'll just to set everybody's expectations, we'll have a presentation from Catherine, and then we're going to have a special guest walk through how they're using the Click solution. Then we're going to come to some questions at the end, and Catherine and I will walk through those, and then we'll wrap things up. So before we get into all that, though, Catherine, I mean, you've been in the space for a while. You've had a very interesting journey. Tell us a little bit more about your path to where you are today at Click.
Sure, yeah, of course. Thanks, Doug. Well, I was an analyst in strategic planning and finance for two Fortune 100 companies at the start of my career. One of those was in retail, the other in CPG, which was Pepsi. So it kind of led me down to another career path, but I really like analysis. I had some very rudimentary tools at the outset. I began building my own charts and graphs manually. Well, the whole team did. It was a real pain, but it was done for senior management, the highest levels of both organizations. So after that, I moved on to a stint in management consulting, and then eventually I made my way to software and analytics. I've been with several of the largest names over the past 20 years. I've spent time at Gen 1, Gen 2, and now Gen 3 analytics, and companies as well. So I've witnessed this explosive growth. It's ridden a wave over 2 decades, which I think a lot of individuals aren't really aware of, actually almost 3 decades, if you include reporting. But there's many benefits that organizations, of course, glean from analytic insights. But I'm looking at it from the adoption and the real usage, which is actually driven across the organization by the use case around embedding. So I think that's where it continues to be a holy grail, driving adoption. You want your colleagues to actually use that data to support their day-to-day decision-making. And that's why I enjoy the area, the particular use case that I reside within. And we want to, at Click, we really want to make it as simple as we possibly can. So ISVs or enterprises can embed analytics wherever they want, wherever their teams are working.
Yeah, and as I said at the outset, this is one of the hottest topics across the board for us at Solutions Review. And I think what we've seen over the past few years is this has gone from this Gen 3 idea of really high-end analytics has gone from a nice to have to a have to have for high performance organizations. And so whenever we have the chance to bring a solution like this to our audience, we jump at it. So thanks very much for being here. I'm going to turn it over to you now. I'm going to let you run with it. I know you've got some guests that you brought, and we're going to bring them in as well. And then we'll all reconvene at the end. I'm dying to get your perspective. I love the background you're bringing from all kinds of perspectives. Yeah, practitioner, exactly. So we'll get into some of that at the end. But for now, I'm going to turn it over to you, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Doug. And great to be here today to share a little bit about Click's Cloud Analytics, our platform, and how we're unique in our approach to embedded analytics. Click's a well-known player in the cloud analytics space. We've been in the space for over a dozen years. And we've been a leader in Gartner's Magic Quadrant for BI and Analytics for as many years. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about embedded analytics, what it means, why it matters, and most importantly, why it matters for adoption and the usage of analytics. If you really want your team, your customers, your ecosystem to use analytics, we make it easy for them, giving our customers and our partners options to put the insights where they matter most, where a team member or a customer spends, the bulk of their day. So a little bit about Click, if you're unfamiliar with us. So Click is best positioned to meet your needs as a market leader providing data and analytics professionals with data integration and analytics from a singular cloud platform. This is best represented by Click's leadership in each market and our ability to exploit shared foundational services between these domains. Our recent acquisition of Talon provides new important capabilities for data integration and data quality for our Click Cloud platform. And additionally, this is important to note, we continue to deliver strong organic roadmap deliverables as well, doubling down on analytics, leveraging AI, and of course, machine learning. But today, we're here to showcase embedded analytics and our customer software provider Pursuit, who shares how they're achieving growth by the adoption of their platform, now integrated with the Click's Cloud Analytics, and they'll talk about their time to market working with the Click Cloud platform. Before we jump into Pursuit's story and demonstration, just a few things to kind of talk about and give you some more background and context. So how are our customers working to embed Click Cloud Analytics capabilities? What are the use cases that we're running across that we're seeing out there amongst partners and customers? So of course, the usual extranet embedded core analytics use cases, displaying data sourced on the cloud in a portal via embedding whatnot or charts within applications, whatnot. Collaborative analytics, so self-service analytics leveraging data alerts, notes, and potentially automations for advanced actions in a mainly portal context, sometimes full use. And then full service, leveraging the entire end-to-end analytics in solution to source data in your systems, land and analyze, some private labeling, but only an in-app embedding today. So augmented analytics, machine learning via chatbots, via natural language APIs, machine learning via AutoML for supply chain and inventory solutions. And then data as a service, sourcing, delivering data with preparation or prep, transformations, analytics, cloud reporting, static reporting, as well as report distribution, enterprise report distribution use cases, including PowerPoint, and in second half for us, tabular reporting. Data migration, service offerings to move data between vendors and solutions and whatnot. And then iPaaS, managed full service integration platform for driving action and operational systems such as CRMs, ERP, supply chain, and others. So our goal is to make it easy to embed Click's platform. We want to make it simple, we want to make it flexible, we want to make it however to meet your needs and requirements. So first, the how. We give you options for everything. How you deploy your solution through a choice of tools and frameworks. We've helped to kind of industrialize the platform to help you automate your workflows. You can automate the provisioning, the configuration, the hydration of your tenant estate, if you're an ISV or a data provider, all with very serious documentation, examples, code snippets, tutorials, and much more you'll all find at click.dev. We give you flexibility in what you integrate Click with and how you'll orchestrate the integration. Again, you will have the ability to use most of Click Cloud's technical capabilities, totally independent of the UI or the Click experience. APIs are critical for us. It's taken very seriously. You can build as you like, be as creative as you want, and we expose nearly everything through our APIs. But we also support you if you prefer a different approach, maybe low code, or maybe no code with automations, or a combination thereof. It's unique for each end customer. So I could go on, but this tells you a little bit about how our customers, both enterprise and ISVs and IoTs, how they're thinking and what they're receiving from Click, the Click platform itself. So nearly every piece or capability of the Click Cloud platform for either internal applications or for revenue generating products can be exposed and be a part of that solution. So our goal for embedding analytics overall, we want to remove the speed bumps, reduce the friction for you. It's really to support you and your goal. Your goal is to bring analytics where your customers do their work, where the adoption and daily engagement with your product continues to grow and expand over time. So we want you to think about a few things. So let's reframe your analytics platform and the conversation. Yes, we can do applications. We can embed there. We've got the apps, we've got the dashboards, we have the charts, we have the reports and whatnot. But we can also give you answers where you already spend your time and reduce the friction in your organization that's slowing you down from becoming truly data-centric. And even better, you can use the action and the insights through data alerts, through the automations, through subscriptions, through AI and machine learning. Be more proactive in helping your users and customers make better decisions. So let's see now and hear from our ISV customer and partner Pursuit and how they've integrated analytics, dashboards, cloud reporting as a part one of their suite, and how they were able to save time, resources, leveraging our frameworks, our visualization libraries, and much more that you'll see on click.dev.
Thanks a lot, Catherine. Now let's hand it over to the team at Pursuit to carry on this presentation.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jordan Weinstein. I'm the VP of Product Growth with Pursuit. I'm joined today by Paulina, who is one of our BI engineers, and we'll talk about the tech stack that we have in place, and Daryl, one of our client partners at Pursuit, based in the UK. Paulina and I are both in New York. So let's see. Pursuit is a legal technology platform that fundamentally changes how in-house legal teams engage with outside counsel. Just to take a moment to speak about how big this problem is, many of the largest organizations in the world spend hundreds of millions of dollars on outside counsel. Oftentimes, this is spend that is outside of the spend management function of an organization. So they're sort of exempted from the typical procurement best practices you see in basically every other area of an enterprise. So we provide the product, the change management, and the analytics to enable legal to stop being that exception. Many of our clients also have started to use Pursuit for things outside of legal, really any complex service. Give you a quick snapshot of who some of our customers are. As you can see, these are largely or majority Fortune 500s across almost every industry. So, really large organizations. And let me pass it over to Daryl just to talk through kind of, what do you get, how to use Pursuit. So he'll walk us through very quickly how this might work.
Thanks, Jordan. Yeah, sure. I'm Daryl, and in my role as client partner, it's my job essentially to look after the customers and make sure they're getting the most out of Pursuit. And this is how we do it. So the process starts with a matter intake. So essentially, a matter is generated on the client side, and I want the firm who can give me the best outcome for this matter. Next step, scoping phase. So this is where the lawyer essentially sits down to decide what is it I need from the law firm, and they achieve this with templated RFPs that essentially set out the price, the strategy, everything they're looking for from that law firm. Once the matter's been scoped, of course, they then invite the firms on Pursuit. This essentially means that existing firms they would already know they would invite just on the platform. And once the firms have been invited, the next step is essentially them submitting proposals. And the idea is that those proposals come back, we get real-time competitive bidding, and they can see those proposals in one place, side by side. Finally, of course, they then evaluate those proposals and, of course, select the firm or firms they're going to choose to work with.
Thanks, Daryl. Once all that's done, as you might imagine, right, we've got hundreds and actually thousands of transactions on the platform, about 5x that in terms of proposals, and all of those have a lot of rich data. And that's really where my team comes into the picture, is presenting that data in a way that they can use. So, here you can see just one example of one of the first things we deployed using Click and embedding that Paulina will start to talk about soon. But you can see there's a lot of different sort of questions that they have answers to, which our platform is looking to help them answer. Things like who's using the diversity module, what kind of answers are they getting from that, how much are we saving over time, how's our outside counsel spend trending, that sort of thing. So in a moment, we'll show you sort of what that looks like and how we built it. Before we go there, just to give you a sense of kind of how bad was it, at least when I joined, So, Pursuit's been around for a number of years. There has been a legacy analytics page that's existed, and some clients were using, but honestly, there was a lot of problems with this, right? They didn't have the data in the way that they wanted it. It was hard. It was actually hard to consume. And it was very much, what you might call vanity metrics, right? It wasn't very actionable. It was sort of more of the nice to know thing. The other thing that Daryl might recall when he joined earlier is that it wasn't self-service, right? There was a lot of instances where our CS team had to go to the engineers and say, hey, I need this kind of data. And it was a long back and forth over a couple of days. So one of my main sort of goals when I first joined was to really democratize access to that data. So let me talk through sort of how we went through that evaluation. In place, we had an existing platform, one of the big names in the space, always in the upper right quadrant, but we had a version of it that really wasn't working too well. There was literally some discrimination against Mac users, so you might be able to guess at who that was. And what I know that we needed was a mature product. From a technical perspective, I know there's a bunch of things that we were going to want to do. And I didn't want to have to wait for a vendor to come out with that feature. I also didn't want to have to do too much customization to make something work. So, the ability to manipulate data out of the box with out-of-the-box functions was key, like a robust set of functions. One thing I love about Click is it's hard to think of something that you might want to do that you're unable to with something that they don't already have. I'm not an engineer. I'm not even good at SQL, and I can do some pretty advanced stuff with Click. So things that we were looking to evaluate included obviously that mature product from a technical perspective, a clean UI, obviously something that was data source and type agnostic. And I knew that eventually, even though it wasn't our first goal, we were going to want to embed, some of these dashboards into our application. One of the last things was, as you saw, our client base is, some of the largest organizations in the world. We know that they do very robust and involved security assessments. So that was just simply a non-starter. We had to have a product and a partner that we could rely on and have either as good or way better security than we had. So with that, we will pass it over to Paulina to talk about our implementation.
Thank you, Jordan. Hi, guys. My name is Paulina, and I'm a BI engineer with Pursuit, currently heading up the Click Embedding Initiative. And I will be talking to you guys a little bit about the tech behind all of our embedding features. So to start off with, this is our tech stack. We use MongoDB as our main data source, and then the data gets piped through a Python ETL and into a SQL Server database, where it is optimized to be ingested by Click. A lot of the data modeling and the data visualization building then happens in Click, and we connect to the Click Associative Engine API via our Pursuit app and the technologies behind that. On the back end, we have Node.js, JWT, and WebSockets. And on the front end, a lot of the heavy lifting is done by React. And then we use Nebula.js and Enigma.js to render the Click visualizations on the front end and to connect to the associative engine. Jordan, next slide, please. So one of the things that was really important to us, because we deal with a lot of sensitive client data, was to provide a cohesive experience without compromising on the security. A lot of this is data pertaining to legal matters that our customers are involved in, so discretion is of utmost importance to us. And Click kind of provides a seamless and easy way to connect to our analytics using their JWT integration technology. So our clients authenticate using the JWT flow, after which app-based access and row-level access is handled by the section access feature in ClickSense. And Jordan, next slide, please. And I can talk about this all day, but I think it's better if we see this in action. So I'm going to do a little demo for you guys and kind of keep going through the tech as we talk about it more. So let me share my screen. Okay. So this feature on screen here is called the real-time business review. This is the second feature that we've come out with using click embedding in our app. And the way that this feature actually came about is, so our clients were kind of doing a version of this already. They would have these quarterly business reviews with their law firms, which was essentially a conversation where a representative from the client side would sit down with the law firm to talk about the relationship. And the clients would very often come to CSMs or customer success managers in order to get the data to arm them for this conversation. So a lot of the CSMs were involved in putting kind of together these decks for these clients. And I think Daryl was very heavily involved in that as well. Daryl, do you want to talk a little bit about that process?
Yeah, of course. Look, absolutely spot on. They'd come to us for the information. It was very manual, but one thing I must add, they would come to us for the information typically hours before their meeting. And it was just a little bit stressful because we want to be able to help our clients. One of the huge benefits of Pursuit is to have this data and arm them with, to have those conversations that they want to have to improve their relationships with their firms. But to do that in real time now is a game changer. It's a game changer for me personally and my team, obviously, but I think it's a real game changer for clients because the real time and the clean reporting is something they can now get themselves.
Right. So self-service is definitely a huge part of this. Another big part of this is that we now have kind of like a centralized look and feel to all of these reports, because before kind of every CSM would do it a little bit differently. But essentially how we came up with the data and the look and feel of this is by using what CSMs were doing already and incorporating a lot of their ideas into this feature. So the first tab that you see here is the activity breakdown. And this basically takes you through kind of what happened between the time that the law firm, and I have a law firm selected here, between the time that the client invited the law firm to RFPs to the eventual outcomes, which is the wins or losses. And Daryl, do you want to talk a little bit about how this might be used in a conversation like this with the client and the firm?
Yeah, absolutely. So without this kind of data, what would typically happen is there's a conversation around the amount of business that a firm may be winning or losing. And typically, in our experience hearing from clients, is they would normally be a little bit underprepared, and the meeting isn't as productive because they then sort of saying, yeah, not sure what happened with that one. Sorry about that. Not sure if you were invited. Yes, agreed, but couldn't confirm. And really what the idea is of this, of course, is to have actual data in front of them, pointing to everything they need and telling a story. And essentially that then becomes a really productive conversation where both parties completely understand the what, the where, and the why behind what's happened in the last quarter.
Yeah, so the first tab is kind of more of the what, and then as to the why, we have this competitive intelligence tab, and this actually gives the firm insight into, maybe why they lost, why their competitor was better in a certain area, what they could have done to improve. Yeah, so Daryl, how would you use this in kind of one of these conversations?
So this is so important to provide that context because once you find out what your score is on a particular panel, if you're a firm, you then want to know, well, what does that mean? Because what are other firms doing? How much are they winning compared to me? So it's very, very important to have that conversation because if my percentage is super, super high, maybe I'm being invited to only one area of work and I'm winning every single time, but I'm not getting to see enough. And maybe if it's really, really low, of course, maybe I'm being invited to lots that I don't have any experience in. So all of it essentially just provides context. And law firms are super competitive. They want to know where they sit as well amongst their peers.
Yeah, and then this last bit here is just a summary of the proposal feedback that clients have given the law firm on the app. And perhaps our most important feature is up here, which is our export to PowerPoint feature. We built this out using Click's latest offering, which is the Reports API. So all you have to do is click a button and you get a ready report on the other end, which I think is so important for these client meetings, right, Daryl?
Yeah, exactly. So instead of being armed with various, I don't know, Excel spreadsheets or inconsistent data, you get it straight to PowerPoint in a really neat way to present it. So if you are unprepared for a meeting and you are printing it, that morning, well, it's all there for you, so it's not a problem. And yeah, that's a real game changer, being able to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Now, just to take it back to the tech a little bit. So why did we choose embedding instead of, for example, exposing one of our Click dashboards to the client? And the answer is simple, right? So we want to provide a cohesive experience for the client. We want them to stay inside the app. We don't want it to feel like they've gone elsewhere. This is where the JWT authentication also becomes very important because it makes authenticating into this Click embedded feature seamless. So there's no annoying logout screen. The client never feels like they've left the Pursuit app. The second thing that I wanted to talk about is kind of like, why did we embed in the way that we did? Because theoretically, this could have just been an iframe that we threw a ClickSense sheet into, but we did not want to go that route. And the reason is that it's this cohesive experience, right? So we do have design elements and color palettes that we use throughout the app that we kind of, wanted to maintain all of that styling and all of that branding for our clients. So they really feel like this is Pursuit. Now, one of the ways in which we kind of maintain this unified experience for the client is combining the embedded elements that the Nebula.js library provides with some of our own custom tooling. A good example are these dropdowns that you see up here. So, you select some data, things change on screen as you would expect. And you might notice that some of these selectors behave very similarly to how Click behaves, in that selections are highlighted. And then you'll notice that now if we go to this dropdown, some of these law firms are no longer selectable. This is because they don't have data for the quarters that I have selected. So this all looks very similar to Click, but also not, because the selectors look very, very customized, and we actually built these out custom. There's Click data underlying this, but the tooling is custom because it was very important for us to maintain kind of this Pursuity appearance. So what are the benefits kind of this embedding feature? Well, first of all, our time to market has been cut down on these sort of features drastically. As I mentioned before, this is the second feature that we created using Click's embedding APIs. The first one took us a few months. It was a learning curve. But one thing that we did get right is that we created kind of a library of these components wrapped in React, because that is the framework that we use throughout our app, which we can now reuse freely for to create more of these analytics. So the second feature that we came up with, the time to market was 2.5 weeks, and it only took 3 front-end engineers and 1 Click developer to achieve this, which I think is so important to be able to come out with these quickly. What do you think, Daryl? What's your take?
Yeah, absolutely. I think my take is that we've got world-class clients, and we want to be able to service them as quickly as possible. As with anything, it's fast moving, and we want to make sure that it feels like a seamless experience within the app. It feels like part of the Pursuit product. And it's so important to be able to do it as quickly as possible. And, being able to do that meant that we're not, we're sort of nipping in the bud this sending lots and lots of different types of materials to clients in a sort of crude way. It's not what we're about as a business. We're very, very much care about that image and making sure it's nice and clean. And this is exactly what's been done here.
Yeah, so I'm going to hand it over back to Jordan to kind of talk about the future of embedding for Pursuit and our relationship with Click. Jordan.
So one last slide to cover. I think we are running up on time, but really just to double down on what Polina was talking about in terms of time to market. For me, in my seat, I think it's really fantastic what we've been able to accomplish here. So looking at what's coming, really rapid expansion, a lot more use cases that we're going to deploy using Click. These are some of the ones that are listed here. Our focus on our D&I module. We're going to be releasing some industry benchmarking, both from how they're using the platform as well as some pricing and things like that. And for me, the quick sort of view of how we're doing this is just to give you a sense is we do basically most of the prototyping in Click, the core Click app itself. We'll do a bunch of research off of that, get a bunch of feedback, then hand it over to designers. And once we're past that design stage, as Polina said, it's basically 1 to 1.5 sprints, and we can release, which is pretty awesome. And with that, I think we're done. Thanks so much, everybody.
Okay, great. Well, now we're back with Catherine Frye, and we're going to bring her into the conversation. Catherine, we have a few questions we want to ask. And as I mentioned at the beginning when we were chatting earlier, I think you're going to be able to offer a pretty interesting perspective for many of the members of our audience. But first, out of the gate, the mechanics of why embedded analytics, setting that aside, why is it more important today for businesses, or even more important today for businesses?
Well, a couple of things. I think embedded analytics is a use case per se. That's how we frame it at Click, and Gartner does as well. But you have to think about your user population. The majority of your users, they're not analysts, they're not power users, they're consumers. So you have to be able to drive and deliver adoption. It's critical. So the whole thing is we need to make it easy for them. So with embedding, we need to make the analytics or the relevant metrics appear right within the user experience of the application where they are. I don't care if it's internal or it's with an ISV/OEM experience. We just simply need to get the users closer to their relevant data, where they spend their time, so their applications with the insights located exactly where they have those decision endpoints. So we're doing our best, R&D, whatnot, to eliminate those speed bumps, make it easy on the back end. This isn't really understood by most individuals, but it's absolutely where we spend a lot of our time and our development resources. So it's not a use case for your analyst per se. It's for your everyday business user, your consumer. They need to connect the insights rapidly, make the decision, share the insight, and then move to next. So that's why it's becoming, with you're going through all the transformation initiatives, whatnot, digital transformation, it's just top of mind for everyone, every CEO and CIO that we speak with.
Yeah, so let's talk about that for a second. So where in the organization do you find traction in that kind of initial engagement? So I know we would encourage all of our audience who are considering a solution like that to reach out and begin an engagement. And we always believe that that's the best way to learn is to really go interactive with a solution provider. But where do you find that traction within an organization? I mean, who should be thinking about making that initial call?
Well, definitely line of business. In the line of business, if they're supported by an IT, shared service, whatnot, and sometimes in many instances, the larger organizations, Fortune 1000, they are. An SVP might be thinking, well, I'm working on customer initiatives, whatnot. I need to connect across these various processes. I need to have insights across these different applications, whatnot. So it might be that individual. So we're talking sales, marketing, customer. There's a chair of a customer or a leader of customer insights, whatnot. It depends on the titles, but that's foremost with the front office per se, supply chain, finance, all of those areas. In addition to, and in parallel, always the CIO. So you've typically got an individual within the CIO's office who's responsible for analytics and BI as well. So it's almost a parallel track. And oftentimes what we'll see is very large transactions or customer deals, you see them having different aspects to them. There might be, of course, we're going to do this transformational effort and we're going to first start with finance and then we're going to move to sales. And it's just, that's the way it goes. And sometimes we're going to have for instance, a portal. And we want to make sure that we're able to share analytics with our business partners, our distributors, whatnot. So you see different elements. And of course, it's a different prioritization. So it's both line of business and your IT departments.
In those initial conversations, obviously, you got to believe that those folks are potentially talking to other solution providers as well. I mean, embedded analytics is certainly a very hot space. Can you speak a little bit about where you're trying to create differentiation there? How are you trying to set yourself apart?
Sure. No, absolutely. I think that with Click, well, with all the vendors, all of us, we in the embedded case really is more of a technical use case. So it's not, of course, visualizations are important, the reporting is important, other capabilities are of importance. But I think it's important to note with Click, what our focus is, our entire platform can be embedded. So, for instance, we're providing you flexibility. So whether you're an enterprise, whether you're an SMB, whether you're an ISV wanting to create your own solutions and sell out to your own customer base, you can take any aspect of the Click experience, whether it's the full client, extensions, whatnot, you can embed it. And we make that very easy, very simple. If you want to embed just extensions and just certain measures or metrics, we support you in that endeavor as well. If you want to only take a single capability, we have full APIs across our Click Cloud platform that allow you to do this. Proven, they're stable, and we can also help expedite that through tooling. We have a dedicated development site, click.dev, where you can go and find the tooling, find the examples, find the tutorials, find the changelog. Everything is located there. So we definitely support you in any way you want to go about embedding. So flexibility is one, Doug. And I think the other thing to think about with Click is we want to make sure that it's easy. So we pro code, low code, no code. And I kind of touched on this before. We need to think about this. If you're an organization that has a lot of developers, hey, code away. We let you do this. If you kind of want to go in between, we provide low code methodologies as well. We have a tool called Click CLI. You can use that. And we also have automations if you prefer not to, not to code away and spend less time in that arena. We also provide automated ways of moving workflows and deploying as well. So I just wanted to talk about flexibility and just options that we provide for you.
Yeah, and obviously we would encourage all of our audience members who are watching this to head over to the Click website and check out all the things that they have there. And check out everything that we're saying and writing about on our sites about Click and embedded analytics as well. One of the topics that is overarching these days in all of technology, I guess, is artificial intelligence, AI. There's been a lot of noise about generative AI in the news recently. I think we're going to hear lots more about it for forever.
Yes.
But talk a little bit about how Click is incorporating that, your approach to AI, and how that benefits your customers.
Sure. Okay, there's no generative AI without data. It's all about data, but it has to be, I think the data has to be the right data. It has to, and you need to be able to solve your data issues first. So data and analytics kind of go hand in hand, or AI, and it goes hand in hand. So first, from a Click perspective or position, we do think it's going to be, of course, like everyone else, it's going to be a huge driver in the evolution of data integration and data analytics, full stop there. The combined ability of Click, we had a recent acquisition of Talend. It's going to be able to harness data from any source. We'll enhance the quality, we'll create the secure, modern data fabric, blah, 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 all of that. But I think what's more important to understand is we want to note that the extensibility of our Click Cloud platform, it allows us to leverage any generative AI technology. We have a very open platform. So I want to make sure that the audience understands that as well. And we've demonstrated this possibility already, the integration of ChatGPT at our user conference, back in ClickWorld in April. So we've since launched the past couple of weeks a suite of OpenAI connectors, to deliver that ChatGPT experience in Click Cloud, the Click Cloud platform. So this new release will provide automation connectors with real-time analytics integration. So we have that experience built now. It's available. There's more to come on our roadmap. I can tell you right now, it's front and center with our entire C-suite team as well as our R&D organization. But thank you for asking.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating, and we're eager to see how it all plays out. It's amazing what has already been demonstrated, but clearly in next generation enterprise technology, which I think honestly will probably be at the forefront just because of the investment and the return on that investment that can be generated. I think we're going to see folks like leading BI companies really driving not only development but adoption through socializing that with customers. And you have more than a few, 40,000 active customers, 100 countries. You, like I mentioned at the beginning of this, you're a leader year over year in the Gartner Magic Quadrant. What kind of advice would you offer to somebody who has, everybody has something, right? And this is always one of the conversations we love to have at Solutions Review. Everybody always has something. And oftentimes they think, well, that's good enough. But really what they should be thinking about is what is next and what should we be looking at doing. You've been on both sides of this conversation. What advice would you offer to somebody who's thinking about taking their analytics to the next level?
Well, from an embedded perspective, I think there's a couple of things you to think about as well. If you're going to go down that route and you're going to be monetizing, it's a monetization type of a project, you need to think about the entire platform, not just, and many individuals get tripped up in this. It's not just your UI. It's so much more than that. So many vendors don't necessarily consider this, but we talk about quite a bit. We're offering any element of our platform for embedding because we want to be able to match and meet our customers and their roadmap, where they're going with their solutions, whether it's internal or whether it's a commercial offering. So again, if they want to be able to provide some type of AI, if they want to be able to provide alerts, if they want to be able to provide something as simple as reporting, we can provide all of that. We of course do continuous release, and we are releasing, I think, every 2 weeks. Things are coming out in the cloud. So we move very rapidly, and of course our customers can barely keep up with us. But we want to meet your roadmap, and we will be able to do that. We have an eye on the future. We've already been investing, as I mentioned, in AI as well as we've had several investments or acquisitions in AI, and we'll continue to do so because you can't remain a leader in our space without having that far-ranging perspective. So it's a little bit about what you need to think about with us and considerations.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing where this is all headed. Really, since we've been covering the space, and that's probably 10 years now. It's remarkable. The solutions that have come, the consolidation that's happened. I know you did acquire Talend, which is interesting acquisition. I'm curious, not to give anything away and not to certainly have to cover yourself in any way, but what are you excited about in the future? What do you see coming in the next year or so that gets you excited?
So we have a new EVP, or I think he's a chief strategic officer, James Fisher. He was actually leading our product organization up until this time. So I'm excited to actually work for him previously. It's great to see him moving into this new role. So I know he knows the space very well. He's spent time as well, 20 years in the space. So I'm looking forward to probably more just organic growth, as well as a few more acquisitions are coming. I can't say much beyond that. I know there's always things cooking in terms of smaller acquisitions and whatnot, but I know that we're doing quite well with a lot of customers moving to the cloud. Our install base is huge. They're still kind of moving over, and of course to the cloud. And we have great, I think, excellent, I would say, focus on our new customers, and they're taking up. There's a lot of uptake and across the platform. We can see what they're using. We have that monitoring capability. We can see everything they're doing in the cloud. So it's just crazy. It's incredible to see, what they're doing with the platform. And of course, they're pushing us. So of course, we have, market forces, but we also have internal. We have great customers. We have so many of the Fortune 1000 across the globe, and they're pushing us as hard on AI as the market is. So I think there's a lot that will be happening exciting for us the next 12 to 24 months. But thank you for asking again.
Yeah, tremendous. Well, this has been a lot of fun. Excellent presentation today. Thanks very much for the time, and best of luck in the coming year.
Thank you. Thank you again for having us here. Enjoyed it. Thank you.
Well, there you have it. Another solution in our spotlight. We want to thank Catherine and Click and the team at Pursuit for that fine presentation, and we appreciate your attendance as well. Until next time, I'm Doug Atkinson here at Solutions Review. Thanks for watching.